Thank you for joining me on this adventure. Your presence means the world to me. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Luji Gongji. We hope you find it enlightening. Luji, courtesy name Gongji, was a Chinese politician and scholar serving under the warlord Sun Quan in the late Eastern Han dynasty of China. He was also one of the 24 Filial Exemplars. In the next portion, we'll be immersing ourselves in the realm of life and examining its broader implications. Luji was from Wu County, Wu Commandery, which is in present-day Suzhou, Jiangsu. His father, Lu Kang, served as the administrator of Luzhong Commandery towards the end of the Eastern Han dynasty. The Lu clan, which he was from, was one of the 4 most influential clans in Wu Commandery and also in the Jiangdong region at the time. When Luji was 6 years old, his father brought him to Jiangdong Commandery to visit Yuanshu. Yuanshu treated his guests to mandarin oranges. Luji secretly took 3 oranges and hid them in his sleeve. When Luji and his father were preparing to leave, the oranges suddenly rolled out of his sleeve. Yuanshu said, "Young man Lu, you came as a guest. Why did you hide the oranges?" Luji knelt down and replied, "I want to bring them home for my mother." Yuanshu was very impressed with Luji. This incident is one of the 24 stories of filial piety in the Confucian classic The 24 Filial Exemplars. In the late Ers, after the warlord sons had conquered lands in the Wu region and established his domain there, he invited scholars such as Zhang Zhao, Zhang Hong and Qin Song to discuss with him on how to bring peace to the Han Empire. Luji was among the scholars. As their seating positions were determined by their ages, Luji took the furthest seat because he was the youngest. When they were talking about using military force to bring about peace, Luji raised his voice and said, "In the past, when Guanyu served as a chancellor under Duke Quan of Qi, the Duke was able to unite the various lords under his control and bring order to the empire without resorting to military force." Confucius once said, "If Remota people are not submissive, all the influences of civil culture and virtue are to be cultivated to attract them to be so." Those who are present at this discussion speak of only using military force, and nothing about promoting civil culture and virtue. I may be young and ignorant, but I don't feel at ease after hearing what you said. Zhang Zhao and the others were very surprised by Luji's response. Luji had a majestic appearance and was known for being very well read in various fields, including astronomy, calendar science, and mathematics. He was also a friend of other scholars such as Yu Fan and Pang Tong, who were much older than him. In 200, Sun died and was succeeded by his younger brother, Sun Quan. After Sun Quan took control of the Wu lands, he recruited Luji to serve as an assistant clerk under him. Luji subsequently served as the administrator of Yulin Commandery around present-day Guiping, Guangxi. He was also promoted to lieutenant general and placed in command of 2,000 troops. However, Luji did not aspire to be an official because he not only had physical disabilities, but also because he was actually interested in scholarly pursuits. Nevertheless, throughout his career, he never gave up on academia even though he was busy with military affairs. He created the Han Chuntu and annotated the Yijing and Taichunjing, and his works were spread around later. When Luji sensed that his death was imminent, he wrote, "During the Han dynasty, there lived Luji, a man from Wu Commandery who had lofty ambitions. When he was young, he read the classic of poetry and book of documents. When he reached adulthood, he was already very familiar with the classic of rites and Yijing. He received orders to lead a military campaign to the south, but was struck by illness. How unfortunate his life was. He died with regrets and sorrow." He also wrote, "About more than 60 years from now, vehicles will be able to travel on the same roads, and books will be written in the same script. It is unfortunate that I will not be able to witness that." He died at the age of 32 by East Asian age reckoning. As we enter this new phase, let's analyze family and relatives from different angles and evaluate its significance. Luji was a second cousin once removed of Lu Kun. Although he was born about 5 years later than Lu Kun, He was actually one generation older than the latter. His father, Lu Kang, Lu Kun's granduncle, raised Lu Kun, who was orphaned at a young age. After Lu Kang's death, Lu Kun became the new head of the family because he was older than Lu Ji in terms of age. Lu Ji had 2 sons and a daughter. His elder son, Lu Hong, served as the South Commandant of Kuiji Commandery in eastern Wu. His younger son, Lu Ru, was a Changshu colonel. Lu Ji's daughter, Lu Yexing, was born in Yulin Commandery. Her name was inspired by her place of birth because Yexing means born in Yulin. She married Zhang Wen's younger brother Zhang Bei. As Lu Ji died early, his 3 children who were still very young when their father died were adopted and raised by Lu Kun's younger brother Lu Mao. Let's zoom in on appraisal and understand its implications. Chen Xiao, who wrote Lu Ji's biography in the records of the 3 kingdoms Sangui, appraised Lu Ji as follows. Lu Ji's contributions to Yang Zhong's Taichunjing were equivalent to Zhou Qiming's contributions to Confucius's Spring and Autumn Annals and Xuanzi's contributions to Laozi's Dadijing. When such a great talent like him who was capable of doing better tasks was sent to defend the southern border, his life was ruined. Pan Tong once described Lu Ji as a horse that cannot run fast but has strong willpower. A verse from the 24 Filial Exemplars in Lu Ji's honor reads, "As we progress, let's zoom in on Romance of the 3 Kingdoms and examine its role in shaping our overall narrative." Lu Ji appears briefly in chapter 43 of the 14th historical novel Romance of the 3 Kingdoms. He is one of the Wu scholars who debate with Xu Zhiang over Sun Quan's decision to ally with Liu Bei against Cao Cao before the Battle of Red Cliffs. Lu Ji argues, even though Cao Cao controls the emperor and holds sway over the lords, he is still a descendant of the Chancellor Cao Shen. Liu Bei may be a descendant of Prince Jing of Zhongshan, but there is no proof for this. As far as we see, he is no more than a straw mat weaver and shoe seller. How can he compete with Cao Cao? Xu Zhiang replies, "Aren't you the young man Lu who hid oranges in his sleeve at Yuan Shu's house? Please sit down and listen to me. Since Cao Cao is a descendant of Chancellor Cao, he is therefore a subject of the Han Empire. However, he monopolizes state power and bullies the emperor. This is a disgrace to his ancestor. He is not only a villain of the Han Empire, but also a miscreant of the Cao family. Liu Bei is a member of the imperial clan. His Majesty the Emperor checked the family records and granted him a title. How can you say there is no proof? Although Emperor Gozu started off as a patrol officer, he became an emperor eventually. What is so shameful about weaving straw mats and selling shoes? Your opinions are those of a child. You are not fit to speak with learned men." Lu Ji falls silent. Now, let's dig deeper into popular culture and unveil the hidden treasures it holds within. Yu Rongzhong portrayed Lu Ji in The Legend of Incorruptible Stone, a 2011 Chinese television series loosely based on Lu Ji's life. It is aimed at promoting anti-corruption in governments. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications.